Love it. Thanks, Brian. A major preservation effort is underway tonight in Greene County. Ohio has lost about 90% of its wetlands. So to talk about the efforts to help save them in Greene County is Chief Naturalist from the Greene County Parks and Trails Department, Chris Barnett. First, tell me a little bit about what exactly is a wetland and why are they so important?
Well, hi, Tara. It's good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Wetlands are one of our most unique habitats.
Okay.
It's an area that has water at or above the surface sometime during the year.
Okay.
The water is always moving.
Ah.
It has plants that like water and can withstand having their roots wet, and waterlogged. And then it has animals that live in it that feed off of the plants and insects and wildlife that live in a wetland. The other thing that makes it a wetland is the soils. And the soils have to be like a sponge. They soak in lots of water and let it release very slowly.
And so why are they so important here? Not only in the Miami Valley, but across Ohio?
Well, that's the key factor. The soils is the key factor behind it. Brian was just talking about all the rain we're going to have. Mm-hmm. The wetlands help to absorb a lot of that and keep us from having a lot of floods. It keeps everything from running straight off. The wetlands will soak all that in and then very slowly release it back out again. And
what kind of, I assume they're a great habitat for certain kind of animals,
absolutely.
And what can people do when they go to a wetland?
Well, about 2/3 of all of our wildlife either spend all or part of their life in a wetland. So that's a huge amount of wildlife that you can see. It's a great place for birders, great place for people in photography, or just to go for a hike. It's relatively a quiet place. You don't get a lot of noise and a lot of traffic. And it's just one of those real unique habitats because of the different plants that you'll see, the different animals that you'll see in a wetland. Things like deer and rabbits are there, sure, but things like Baltimore Orioles and great blue heron, that's their home.
So why are they disappearing? And how can we prevent them from disappearing?
The main reason it's disappearing is because of our agricultural practices. We have always thought for years and years that we should drain off the land and help grow crops. Well, what we're learning is that the wetlands helps to absorb all that moisture that our crops actually need. The other thing that happened years ago, long before any of us, is that wetlands were thought to be very scary places. And so the early settlers drained them all off because they didn't want all those scary things that were living in there. So now the idea is to go back in, break out all of that tile that was put in by the farmers and let the water remain.
And you are doing a lot of education. You have, real quick, an event coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday, Hebble Creek Reserve, which is up off of Spangler Road in Fairward, 10 o'clock in the morning, and just come with your boots, because I bet with all this rain it's going to be a little
soggy.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. We appreciate it. I learned a lot today. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. John?